Hi everyone, I'm Bailey Evan, and today we are talking about one of my favorite things in the world, and that's concerts. And frankly, I'm about to share some pretty fire tips and tricks, so keep watching. So shout out to my BFF / concert partner in crime for giving me a ton of these tips, and we've learned these over the years together. So first of all, I'm 30, so I'm automatically wise, right? But I swear these tips will work for everyone, all ages. Now on to the tips. So I first want to talk about things you should do before you go to the concert. And this might even be before you're buying your tickets, because these tips, they start at the beginning of your concert journey. So enter contests. There's so many contests out there for bands, and especially smaller bands, that you can find great ones. Two of the apps I love are Thrill Call and Bands in Town. Sign up for them, have them sync up with your Spotify so it knows which artists you like, and you'll get notifications when those artists are in town. And Thrill Call especially runs a lot of contests through their apps. I also recommend Live Nation in your area, like mine is Live Nation Florida, and my sister and I have both won contests through Live Nation. If you're into photography, see if you can get a photo pass. Have a little portfolio of pictures you've taken and reach out to a manager or an agent of the band. This works a lot better with smaller bands, but if you can get a hold of the right person and ask them for a photo pass, sometimes you can get it, or you can at least get permission to bring in, a camera with a detachable lens, which you usually can't bring into any of the venues. And yeah, this probably isn't gonna work for like Beyonce, but it really can work for some of the smaller bands. Sign up for verified fan sales on Ticketmaster. That's the best way to get the best tickets, because they offer those like floor seats, up close seats most of the time in those verified fan sales. And the best way to get on the list for those is to either join whatever band you like's fan clubs by signing up on their website. Usually you can just put in your email. And then I also recommend following the artists you like on actual Ticketmaster, and a lot of times that'll automatically get you access into the verified ticket fan sale. Know if the artist you're going to gives away ticket upgrades or meet and greets during the concert. You can research this through fan forums online, on Google, on Instagram, searching hashtags, and a lot of times if you reach out to people, they'll tell you exactly how they want it, or sometimes they'll just post about it so you won't even have to reach out for them. They do the research for you. For example, I know that Taylor Swift, in a lot of her tours, she would either have her mom give out tickets or someone from her Taylor Nation team. And if you kind of knew what to look out for, you could kind of see where they were in the stadium. For example, when I was her mom literally talked to me. She offered me a bottle of water. Didn't get a meet and greet pass, but I'll take it. And my best friend that I was talking about earlier, a trick she used to do was get kind of decent tickets for John Mayer. This is back in the day, like back in high school. And then her and her friends would all wear matching t-shirts, homemade, go all out, and then dance like crazy in the back of the stadium, and the ticket fairy would come and give them upgrades to front row. She did this like 5 times, maybe more than that. It's insane. So do your research beforehand, and it can really help you out. Use the special offers that certain credit cards have, like Amex or Capital One. Again, a lot of times they have pre-sales or just special deals for people who have those credit cards. Before you go to the concert, make sure you pack a little bag. And I mean little, like don't bring a huge backpack with you. Just have a little crossbody bag or something small, and only pack the essentials in it. Don't stress about your hair and your makeup. You're gonna be sweaty and having fun, and who gives a shit about your hair and your makeup? You're not gonna care once you're there. So bring the things you really need. Like I recommend a snack bar, like a Kind bar, sunscreen if it's outside, just a little container of it. Hand sanitizer is great if it's outside, porta potties, or even if you're at a venue. Sometimes the toilets are nasty and they don't have soap in the containers. So that's always a great thing to have. Oh, and on that point, make sure that you research beforehand what you're allowed to bring in the venue, because some have really strict rules, especially lately. I know on Ariana Grande's tour, she's having the clear bag rule. It has to be a certain size. And I know a lot of stadiums go by that rule too. So make sure you know about that before you go in, so you're not having to run out to your car to put your purse back. Okay, so now on to while you're actually at the concert. And this first tip, I want to read it exactly how my friend sent it, because she's an amazing writer and just wrote it perfectly. Rules of society are abandoned, so don't feel guilty when you also abandon them. Only the strong survive. So I'm going to tell a little story here that one time we had got tickets to go to the One Direction taping on Ellen DeGeneres, and We had waited for so long. We got there at the crack of dawn. We were waiting in this line. We had got cut by probably 100 people. And I'm one of those people, I never want to cut in line. I always want to be nice. But people were being so rude that by the time it got to the point where we were getting let onto the buses to be bussed over to the venue, her and I jumped over a barricade. Literally, I had a dress on, just jumped over the barricade. And somehow we ended up being the last 2 people on the last bus that got to be in the pit area of the Ellen taping. Everyone else was in these bleachers far away. And if we hadn't jumped that barrier, that wouldn't have happened. Now, I'm not saying hurt yourself or put yourself in danger or do anything really stupid. We don't want you to get arrested. We don't want you to get kicked out. But, you know, sometimes you can push the boundary a little bit. So on to some other things she said in this tip. She said, you're almost never rewarded for following the rules. That being said, build a community while waiting in line and shit so people root for you and have your back for the little things like bathroom breaks, but also wanting you to get a good spot during the show. This is so true. If you're kind to the people around you, they'll have your back and you can have theirs. And sometimes you make friends along the way. And that's what this is all about, right? Is connecting and having a good experience. So, yeah. Okay, so this is a tip if you're at a GA venue or a small venue with GA seating, like a pit. We recommend that you go up to the sides instead of trying to get right in the middle. Even though, yeah, the side view is not necessarily quite as good and you're right by the speakers, but you can get so close, and that experience alone I feel like is worth it. And it's gonna be super loud, but bring earplugs. That's not a bad idea to have anyways, because sometimes concerts are hella loud and you need those earplugs. We sort of touched on this earlier, but with the matching t-shirts, but I think it's a good idea to match your friends. So one time, my friend and I wore matching pink boiler suits, like the kind the Glossier workers wear, and we looked insane, but it was such a good idea, and everyone complimented us on it to the point where I heard this lady talking in the bathroom about the pink jumpsuit girls. And I'm actually wearing it right now so you guys could see. Ooh, I'll do a full fashion show for you in a second, don't worry. Sexy, right? Okay, if you bring stuff in line, make sure it's stuff you can throw away. This goes back to having the small bag and only the essentials, because you don't want to be lugging like a blanket into the mosh pit with you. So don't do that. It's not worth it unless you're willing to throw that blanket away before you go in. So when you're older and you're at a concert that a lot of young people are attending, it's great because the alcohol lines are really short. I'm sorry, I'll never wink again. But that being said, don't get wasted, because I've had a few concerts where I honestly don't remember much of what happened, and that's not what we're going for here. This goes with doing research beforehand, but get to know the people who travel with the band, whether it's their photographers, their band members, their backup singers, their PR people. Find their Instagrams and kind of stalk them, and you can get a good idea of where the band might hang out beforehand, or kind of like what their rituals are and what they do and where they hang out. Guys, live in the moment when you are at the concert. Do not have your phone like this the entire time. I don't think the artists like this, the people behind you don't like this. Sure, take some pictures. You know, fine. I do it. I definitely do it. But if you have it up the whole time, you're not living, you're not experiencing the music. So just don't do that, guys. If you don't care about the opening act or literally being front row, it's a good idea to kind of hang back while the opening is going on and hang out at a bar or a restaurant in the area. And a lot of times the band will actually be eating or having a drink there. So you don't even need front row. They're right there in front of your face. This tip also works for after the concert. But again, back to your research. Know their tour schedule. If they're driving a tour bus and they have to be somewhere that's 1,000 miles away the next day, they're gonna be leaving right after the show to get there in time. But maybe they don't have a show for a couple days. Maybe you live in a nice area where they wanna hang out. They might be staying. So within like an hour after the concert, sometimes they'll leave and go out in the area. Again, this more applies to like small bands and small venues, but still. So if you use these tips and you get the chance to meet someone, the number one tip is just be normal and be yourself when you meet them. You don't need to be a crazed fan and cry. And I know it's tempting, like trust me, it's like I've gotten starstruck before for sure. But if you're just normal, that goes a long way. And I want to tell you about a little story. So one of my friends, I had bought tickets for her to go see one of her favorite bluegrass bands for her birthday, and we went. went with a couple of our friends, having the time of our life, following these tips honestly without even trying, like not using our phones, just having a good time, having a few drinks but not getting too wasted. And afterwards I was like, you know, I bet they're gonna go hang out by the merch table. And lo and behold, one of the guys in the band was by the merch table. And there was a particular guy she wanted to meet, and she had like been making eyes at him all night because, again, you know, no camera. She was close enough she could make eye contact. And we started talking to the other guy in the band, and lo and behold, the one she had been eyeing all night came up, started talking, and next thing I know, he was hanging out with us and going to the bars, and then they went home together. So I'm not saying become an actual groupie, like I'm not an actual groupie, but I'm just saying the tips will work, honey. So if you like these tips, I would love it if you subscribed, gave this a like, maybe turned on that notification bell, and I will see you next time. Let me know your concert tips below. I can never have enough.